Hello, people. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Hope you're having a great day. Back with more updates on the Martinelli situation. This time, apparently, the final stages between Arsenal and Al Hilal have reached, and the club to club talks are basically progressing very well into the final stages. The fee is going to be around 50 to 55 million. In my opinion, we're underselling Martinelli. He should go for at least 70 to 75 million euros. Um, so yeah, I don't agree with the price tag. I think Martinelli is definitely worth more than what we're trying to sell him for. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the Martinelli situation because there's been a lot of fans not happy with the way Arsenal has treated Martinelli, especially after Ian Wright talked about that on Sky Sports. And now there's been kind of a debate if you want to keep Martinelli, if you want to sell Martinelli. And basically, I've even said, like, watch tweets of people saying, take me back with Emil Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and Saka on the pitch. We have to remember at that time, they were very young and we were eighth in the league. So, as much as I like Martinelli, let's be honest, right here, the last two seasons, he hasn't been that good. The last two seasons, we have tried to improve on him. Trossard came into the club and he took the first spot easily from Martinelli. I genuinely think that we misutilize Martinelli. He, as a centre forward, would be amazing. As a centre forward, he's got all the qualities that you ask for. A guy that runs between the lines, takes defenders on, leave them behind due to speed, and a guy that has a lot of finishing 1-on-1 against the goalkeepers. But the way we play football, I think that's why the manager decided to play Martinelli on the left wing, and he's very limited on the left. Martinelli is not that kind of player that will consistently take on defenders, that's consistently a good finisher on the wings. So he's not that kind of player, and I think we definitely got an upgrade on Solis. I know he has played a couple of games, so we cannot judge on 5 or 6 games that he has played. But he looks like a better player than Martinelli. And the last game against Coventry, the fact that Eze came onto the pitch, Martinelli was not even on the bench. I think it's very clear that we want Martinelli to go. We're not trying to get the guy injured. We're just hoping he leaves for good money and he's not in Mikel Arteta's plans. So we gotta be honest here. The last 2 seasons, as I mentioned, Gabriel Martinelli has been very bad. Yeah, he scored at Madrid. He scored an important tie against Man City last season. That lob to Donnarumma, it was a great opportunity, but again, he was in a position of a centre forward during that goal. The Bayern Munich goal, again, he was basically playing as a centre forward in that particular play. And I think the manager definitely wants Kai Havertz to be in that spot. There's a lot of rumors going around Julian Alvarez again. Gyökeres is a third option, basically. So, if Julian Alvarez comes in. So, we definitely want to improve the team, and the manager said it at the end of the season. We need to be ruthless. We need to improve. We need to demand more if we want to win the Champions League. And I think that's definitely what the manager is doing, and the club is running with it. We want to be ruthless. We want to sell players that are not particularly good enough. We want to improve on players that were disappointing last season and the season before. The truth is, Martinelli he never reached the potential that we hoped for. I'm sad to see him leave the club, but we have to keep it real. And the reality is that he has been disappointing the last few seasons. So I don't think what the club is doing is wrong. There's 1 year left in his contract, so we definitely want to cash in. I think that as a club, we decided that Martinelli reached the full potential that he could have reached for us, and we decided to sell him. And we definitely need the money. We have spent a lot the last few seasons, and the sales have been disappointing. So getting at least 50 to 55 million for Martinelli is kind of a good sale. I think we're underselling him in terms of price. Definitely could have got at least 20 million more. But at the end, this type of sale is going to help us to improve on Martinelli. This type of sale is going to bring money to the club to get a better player. So that's the truth. I don't think we're mistreating Martinelli. Simple, we just went in, told him you're no longer in the plans, we're not going to utilize you, you have 1 year left in your contract, and we want you gone. So that's how football works. And at the end, people, we have to think that the main thing we have to, think about is the club. The club comes first. There's been a bunch of players at this football club, legends like Tony Adams, Henry, Bergkamp, Pires, the Invincibles, Vieira. At the end, we moved on from those players. Well, of course, Tony Adams, he retired, but the rest, they decided to move on, or we decided to move on from them. So the club is still here. I know it was a tough, journey to get the league back, but the club moves on. And we finally got a team to build around, to get better, to win more trophies, to win better trophies like the Champions League. So we have to think that the club comes first. I've seen a lot of tweets, as I mentioned, or as I've seen here on Twitter, of people basically with a picture of Saka, Smith Rowe, and Martinelli saying, take me back to 8th place. No, I don't want that. I want my club to win the next 5 league titles if possible. Because I want my club to be successful. I want my club to be at the top of Europe, to be at the top of the world. I want my club to go into the Club World Cup in the next 3 years and win it. Even if it's, a friendly competition, I don't care, go and win it. I like that idea. I want my club to win the Champions League this season or the next one. But I want my club to be successful. And if one of the players have reached the full potential and we don't want him anymore, like Martinelli, it's cool if he leaves. At the end, the club comes first. And this has been a decision taken by Mikel Arteta and the board. Andrea Berta, the Cronkies, whatever. We have to trust them. Because at the end, those are the 3 people that got us to win the league. That's the 3 people that's going to take us to win maybe 2 trophies this season. I genuinely think we have a big chance to repeat on winning the Premier League, to repeat on reaching the Champions League final, to win an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup. I think that Carabao Cup is going to be a priority for the manager because we reached the final and we lost we played very bad in that final, so I think Mikel Arteta has that in his heart and his mind, and I genuinely think we have a big chance to win the Carabao Cup again. And a trophy is a trophy. Carabao Cup, league title, I'll take that. League title, Champions League. That's going to be priority this season as well. So we just have to run with what the club is doing. We're finally acting as a big club, as a successful club. And the fact that Martinelli is leaving, I think you ask that to a few fans the last couple of seasons, everyone would say, sell Martinelli, he's not good enough. Trossard, we need Trossard on the pitch. Trossard is a good player. Everyone talked about that the last few seasons, that Trossard had to be the starter, that Trossard was better on the left wing. So now we got Soldis. We have Eze that's going to be utilized in the left wing. There's no spot for Martinelli. Martinelli has reached his potential. He was definitely discouraging and disappointing the last few seasons. We gave him time to show that he was a good player. And he was at the time, but no longer that player is there. Like, he's no longer the player that we used to know. He has been very bad the last few seasons, so we just decided to move on. And at the end, the club needs to sell players to keep buying better ones. I think this transfer window has been very good. We have spent a bunch of money. Bruno Guimaraes was a top priority. I know he's injured, but we definitely needed him for this season. Solis has been a good player for us. We're trying to get, apparently, Julian Alvarez. We're going to have to see what happens with that. There's a lot of rumors, so I'm not going to talk too much about that because I can't say some of those are true rumors. And at the end, with what the manager did against Coventry, I think it's very clear that he wants Solis to be the main guy and Eze to be the replacement for him. Martinelli, no spot on the squad. Definitely not good enough the last few seasons, so we're just going to sell him. We're not mistreating Martinelli. And he was a big part of the club, but no longer is that player, so we just need to sell him. That's what big clubs do. When a player doesn't work for you, you sell it. You try to send him to a destination that he wants to play for. And apparently Martinelli wants to go to the Saudi League. He's going to earn big money. So we're not mistreating Martinelli. We're giving him a big chance for him and his family. He's going to be under a good manager in Filippo Inzaghi. So that's the situation that Martinelli is in right now. And as a big club, you need to sell players that have not been good enough for you. We cannot just do what we've done before of running contracts down and let the players work for free. That's why we're desperate on selling both Gabriel, Martinelli, and Jesus. Because next year the contract is going to expire. We don't want them to stay here on a free transfer. And so we just need to sell them and get money for them. And I genuinely think the idea of selling Martinelli has been intelligent because he reached his full potential for us. And it's not an encouraging one. So just sell him somewhere else. Maybe he's going to improve in the Saudi League, we don't know. But at the Premier League, at Arsenal, he has not been good enough the last 2 seasons. He regressed. And we are deciding to sell him. The club comes first, people. At the end, I just want to say something. I don't want it to be taken incorrectly, but I'm just going to try and explain it the way I understand this. The club has been here since 1886. We've had a bunch of players at this squad. A lot of players. We've moved on from each and every single one of them. And the club is still here. We want the success for the club. Yes, we have legends, but they have left. Some of them have retired for us. And then we need to get new players back onto the team to keep that success going. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. There's going to be a point where Saka is no longer going to be the player that we used to know. So what are we going to do? Are we going to keep him until he retires? Are we going to sell him? The same thing is going to happen with Martin Odegaard. The same thing is going to happen with Gabriel Magalhaes, with William Saliba. At the end, the career of a footballer is 10 to 15 years. And we cannot ask a player to stay 10 to 15 years at our club. And if that player is not performing, it's better to just sell him. That money is going to help the team to get better players and keep that momentum and that main character activity that we have right now. Because that's the truth. We are the best team in England right now. And if Martinelli is a player that's not going to help us keep that status, we just need to sell him and get a better player back. It's tough to say, but that's the business. That's football. At some point, the big players, the loved players, are going to leave the football club. I loved Mesut Ozil. We decided to throw him on the bench, on the reserves, don't utilize him anymore. I genuinely loved Aubameyang. He was an amazing striker for us. He's still playing good football at the moment. We decided to move on from him. Like I said, we decided to move on from him. Podolski, leave him in the dust. Arshavin, the same stuff. Walcott, move on. So, that's football. Don't be disappointed that it's no longer there. Be happy that it happened. Martinelli came here from the 4th division of Brazilian football. What he did, personally, was great. He took the first spot in Arsenal. He won the Premier League. He won a bunch of community shields. He reached the Champions League final. And then now he's moving on to Saudi League to earn big money and basically secure a future for his family. He played at the top level of world football for a lot of years, 8 years under Arsenal, from the 4th division of football club in Brazil. What he did was amazing, but it's time to move on. And yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say, people. Be happy that it happened, and be happy that the club is now taking the right business decision, and we're not letting players work for free. We're getting players to go for big prices, and this money is going to be utilized to get a better player, which is something that we need to keep that momentum going, to win the league, to reach the Champions League final and win it. So yeah, guys, I like the fact that we're being ruthless and we're trying to improve on what we had. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say, people. Thank you for hearing this. Please let me know your thoughts on the Martinelli situation. But yeah, I'll keep you updated if anything comes in terms of transfer windows. I think this deal is going to be done very quickly in the next couple of days. And we'll see what happens with Julian Alvarez, because there's been a big rumor surrounding him. I just want to talk about that when it happens. So yeah, please like, subscribe, enjoy the week, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.